sharp commentary now from some Republican lawmakers after comedian Stephen Colbert made a mockery of the immigration reform debate on Capitol Hill. He was invited to testify in character about his one-day experience as a farmhand, and it indeed became a circus right out of the gate.
I would like to recommend that now that we've got all this attention, that you excuse yourself and that you let us get on with the three witnesses and all the other members there.
I'm here at the invitation of the chairwoman, and if she would like me to remove myself from the hearing room, I'm happy to do so. I'm only here at her invitation.
That is correct.
Thank you very much. That's fair enough.
The gentleman's time has expired.
Well, there you heard Zoe Lofgren. She's the chairwoman of the House Judiciary Subcommittee on Immigration, winning her argument to let Colbert speak. And here is just a sample of the critical testimony she wanted to hear from him.
Congresswoman Lofgren asked me to share my vast experience spending one day as a migrant farm worker. I am happy to use my celebrity to draw attention to this important, complicated issue, and I certainly hope that my star power can bump this hearing all the way up to C-SPAN 1. As we've heard this morning, America's farms are presently far too dependent on immigrant labor to pick our fruits and vegetables. Now, the obvious answer is for all of us to stop eating fruits and vegetables. And if you look at the recent obesity statistics, you'll see that many Americans have already started. Unfortunately, my gastroenterologist, Dr. Eichler, has informed me in no uncertain terms that they are a necessary source of roughage. As evidence, I would like to submit a video of my colonoscopy into the congressional record. But this is America. I don't want a tomato picked by a Mexican. I want it picked by an American, then sliced by a Guatemalan and served by a Venezuelan in a spa where a Chilean gives me a Brazilian. Because my great-grandfather did not travel across 4,000 miles of the Atlantic Ocean to see this country overrun by immigrants. He did it because he killed a man back in Ireland. That's the rumor. I don't know if that's true. I'd like to have that stricken from the record. I participated in the UFW's Take Our Jobs campaign, one of only 16 people in America to take up the challenge. Though that number may increase in the near future, as I understand many Democrats may be looking for work come November. I'll admit, I started my workday with preconceived notions of migrant labor. But after working with these men and women, picking beans, packing corn, for hours on end, side by side, in the unforgiving sun, I have to say, and I do mean this sincerely, please don't make me do this again. It is really, really hard. For one thing, when you're picking beans, you have to spend all day bending over. It turns out, and I did not know this, most soil is at ground level. If we can put a man on the moon, why can't we make the earth waist high? Come on, where is the funding? But I've got to ask, why isn't the government doing anything? Maybe this ag jobs bill would help. I don't know. Like most members of Congress, I haven't read it. Maybe the easier answer is just to have scientists develop vegetables that pick themselves. The genetic engineers over at Fruit of the Loom have made great strides in human fruit hybrids.
Well, that is hilarious to some and a huge waste of taxpayer time and money to others. Actually, you can feel both. Congressman Steve King is an Iowa Republican on that subcommittee. All right, Congressman, there's no question that Stephen Colbert is a funny comedian. And, you know, he delivers a funny bit and he, you know, makes people laugh. What the hell was he doing before the U.S. Congress?
There was no rational reason for him to be there. I think this started back some weeks or months ago when the chair, Zoe Lofgren from California, was in close relations with the United Farm Workers Union, and they set this up, and it got a life of its own. This was dropped on us. I've known about this for a few days, but I didn't know that he was going to go in and testify in character. I read his written testimony last night. It was about 1 1/4 pages long, double-spaced, without much substance, and their witnesses requested to summarize their written testimony in 5 minutes. He went off on a comedy routine that he had written as a separate document, and I think it's an insult to the time and an insult to the intelligence of the American people that Congress has conducted themselves in this fashion. And I think one point that he made, that there will be a lot of Democrats looking for work this fall, that is an accurate point, and I think that was accelerated by their conduct in this hearing today.
You know, as we look at the reaction shots from the lawmakers up there, they seem like they were enjoying it, like they were laughing. I mean, did you get a chance to speak with Zoe Lofgren after the hearing or during the hearing about how she felt about her decision to invite him and then to stand by that decision, even when a fellow Democrat, John Conyers, said, I don't think this is appropriate and I don't think you should testify?
Well, we don't have that close a personal relationship, and we didn't have much of a conversation, although I did ask her point blank if she anticipated that Chairman Conyers would ask Steve Colbert to leave the room and just leave his testimony. She said she didn't anticipate that and didn't know he was going to do it, so that's as close as it came. But you know how lawmakers are. There were more cameras in the room than I've seen in a long time, and so they're very aware of that, and they're always glad to get a little camera time, and that did dictate some of the conduct of some of the panel members.
Congressman, do you think that Zoe Lofgren owes this country an apology for wasting our taxpayer dollars and your time? There's a lot of problems going on in Capitol Hill right now. There are a lot of problems in this country. You're talking about immigration. Obviously, that's a huge issue, especially to our friends along the southern border. Talking about unemployment and whether immigrants should take U.S. jobs. You got 14.9 million people unemployed in this country right now. And while it's great to listen to Stephen Colbert on Comedy Central at night, many people perceive that as a huge waste of your time and our taxpayer dollars. And does she owe us an apology?
Well, Megyn, we have enough problems here on the Hill to make a blanket request like that. I don't know, but I will say this, that she and Stephen Colbert, among them, disparage the people that do hard work in America every day. She went out and did some work on this farm, and Stephen Colbert did some work on this farm. I pointed out that he was actually unpacking a crate of sweet corn, and it has to be going the other direction if it's going to be shipped off the farm. You don't unpack them there.
Wait, are you telling me he's not, in fact, an expert?
That he what?
He's not, in fact, an expert? You're telling me he didn't actually have his facts right?
I don't think he had his facts right. I saw the video, and the video looks to me like it was staged. And he did have his facts right in his written testimony where he said he had a sliver of insight. That would be all. But he didn't do real work. They said it was hot, it was hard. I saw no sweat. I've done a lot of that work, and I made that point today. There are a lot of people that go out every day and do real hard work, and they're proud of it, and they should be, and they compete with each other to demonstrate how much they can produce in a day. That's part of the American spirit. And all of that was disparaged by them claiming that the work was too hard for Americans, so we have to bring in illegals to do that work because they don't have the leverage that we have. I say we're proud workers here in America, and we do a lot every day, Megyn.
You know, this is the roughest of estimates, but the House Judiciary Committee has a budget of almost $19 million for the 111th Congress. The website lists 151 hearings that you've held during the Congress, and as a crude measure, on average, each of these hearings costs the taxpayers $125,000. $125,000 for that little bit about Steve Colbert's day on the farm. Congressman Steve King, we always love hearing from you. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Megyn. I appreciate it.
And you got to tip your hat to John Conyers, calling out his fellow Democrat.